Hey all, welcome back to this channel. This video is part of the series of SSIS tutorial videos. So in this video, we are going to concentrate on execute SQL statement or execute SQL task in control flow. So execute SQL task in SSIS allows us to run SQL queries such as select, insert, update, delete, and even store procedures directly within the SSIS package. So there are common use cases of this SQL task is executing store procedures in SQL Server, inserting, updating, or deleting records in a database, creating or truncating tables dynamically, running SQL scripts before or after data transformation. So the basic use case of TSQL statements or the execute task is we can delete the linked server table and we can update the linked server table. That means, okay, we can delete or update, or you can get the deletion from the staging table or the table from the staging server. So we will do an example. First of all, we will go to the SQL server and we will create a table and we will insert some values inside that table. And then using this SQL execute SQL task, we will delete the table values, or you can truncate the table data. So we will go to the SQL table. So you can go to SQL Server Management Studio and you can create a database and you can just create an SQL table by using create table employee. So we are going to create a table called employee, which is having an employee ID that will be incremented 1 and that has been taken as the primary key, and we'll be giving an employee name. You can write it as employee name and you can give it as where you can give it department. There is another column called department and then the salary. These are the data types, and now we will insert some values inside this. So this is the statement for inserting the values. We will be giving just one value. So insert into this employee table the employee name, department, and salary. The values will be this much of values. We will execute it both together, and for executing it both together, you can go to execute and it has got executed and the completion time has been returned. So we can find the values. For that, we can use select query, select star from employee, and you can execute that. Of course, you have one query in that or one data in that we got the data which we have inserted. So we are going to delete this data using execute SQL task. So we will come back to the Microsoft Visual Studio and we will start the project. We can go to the file, new project, and you can select the integration service project and you can give the path here and the name and you can create the project. Here our basic need is to delete the data in the SQL Server in that employee table. So we will take the execute SQL task only. We will select the SQL task. Here we are having 4 tabs, that is general, parameter mapping, result set, and expressions. We are going to deal with the general tab, and in the general tab also we have the resultant set. We have single row, full result set, XML, and we are going to use the none for it. You will get if you want a single row as an output with how many columns you want, you can use single row. If you want an entire data set as the result, you can use full result set, or if you want an XML, you can use XML. So we are going to, since we are just deleting the data, we will use it as none. The same thing, you can have connection type. You have different connection types. You have Excel, OLEDB, ODBC, OADO, ADO.NET, and SQL Mobile. We will be using OLEDB since we are going to connect it with the SQL Server. The SQL source type also, we have different source type. The direct input, file connection, and variable. If you are using a variable, you can write the SQL query in a variable and you can execute it. If you are having file, if you are having the SQL query inside a file, you can select the file using file connection. And if you are using direct input, we have to write the SQL statement here down. SQL statement here, you have to write the SQL statement. First, we will get the connection. We will select a new connection and you can select new and you can give the server name here and you can select the database from select connect to the database. If you want, you can test the connection and you can select OK. Now you can select the SQL statement and you can write the query here. We will use the truncate query, truncate table employee, and you can select OK and select OK for it. And now we can execute the package here and the package got executed and we will check whether the data is there in the SQL Server. We come to the SQL Server. This we have run the query previously. Now once again we will run this query, select star from employee, and now we have selected the employee table and nothing is been shown. That means it got deleted, the data got deleted. So all these SQL statements we can write it using this SQL task. So we have just shown a simple example of SQL task. Hope you can go further and you can explore different SQL statement using that SQL task. Hope this was a valuable one. Have a nice day.